This is Larry Jordan, the host of the Digital Production Buzz. The following interview is an excerpt from a recent program. To hear the entire program, visit digitalproductionbuzz.com. Colin Brown has over 18 years' experience in the film industry, holding senior positions in post-production companies in both Australia and New Zealand. Colin has won several awards and been instrumental in luring major productions to his native state of Queensland. Colin now helps non-profit charities in Australia, including producing a series of videos for other non-profits. Hello, Colin. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Well, we're talking to you. I think that's a great way to start.
Colin is wearing the same thing that Craig was wearing.
He was in.
This is an Australian thing.
Am I wearing the same? Really?
Really, you are. You are wearing the same kind of earbuds kind of thing with microphone
Very
dealing
cool look.
that Craig was wearing.
Yeah,
and you also have the same background as Craig was
Don't break his heart. He looks cool, by the way.
But you do look cool.
I can move it a bit. There you are.
No, it is an Australian thing. You look awesome, and you sound good.
Colin,
excellent. Well, that's the main thing.
Colin, you ran a post-production business in Brisbane for a long time. What kind of clients were you working with way back then?
we had different clients from major film productions right down to corporates.
And when was that? When were you working in post in Australia? Because you worked post in two countries. You were in Australia for a while and in New Zealand. Which one did you do first, and what made you switch?
I went to New Zealand after I finished sort of high school here in Australia. Not here, I'm in LA at the moment. But I went to New Zealand and was offered a job there to work on a cigarette commercial, actually. And from there, I sort of moved through the ranks to be the general manager of a film production company, and then from there, I missed home, actually, so I went back in Wellington in New Zealand. It's very cold.
Yes, it is.
So I moved back to Brisbane where it's warmer. So
that's why everybody moves to LA.
Yeah.
How long were you working in post, and when did you shift gears into working with nonprofits?
I worked in post for best part of 17 odd years, and then I made a move. Actually, I was the head of a advertising agency, and I did that for about 3 years. And in doing that, I met some people and who worked in the non-profit sort of sector, and realised that they needed help. So that's where it sort of came from.
Now, when you say they needed help, what did they need?
Well, initially, go back one step. Initially, I lost a brother to cancer when I was young. So I found a small not-for-profit in Brisbane that helped the families of children with cancer. So they provide free accommodation for families that come from remote areas. And I saw that they needed help in terms of their branding and their marketing, and I actually sit on the board of that company, of that organisation now, and so I moved into making videos to help them get sponsorship and that sort of thing.
Wouldn't you love to do that?
Yeah, it'd be
gosh,
amazing.
I would love to do that. Can you make a career out of doing that? Can you pay the rent doing that?
No.
Yeah, that's what I was going.
It helps your heart, but doesn't help the pocketbook.
No. So I do it for the love. Actually, I don't do it for money. Some of the other videos I've made that that you charge a nominal fee, but it really is for the cause, so to speak.
Well, let's stay with nonprofits for just a bit. They needed help with branding. They needed help with marketing. They needed help. Basically, their heart's in the right spot, but it sounds like they just need direction. Is that
pretty much?
Is that a true statement? And then, if so, what advice do you give them? How can you enable a nonprofit to communicate their message to people that don't yet understand it?
I guess the thing with nonprofits is they get into a space where it's really competitive in terms of trying to get money. Everybody from the Ronald McDonald House to World Vision to Save the Children, everybody's trying to get everybody else, the general punter, the mums and dads and the company's money. So first of all, they have to realize that it's a competitive space. And then they have to realize that they need to get things in order in terms of approaching these companies, so corporates, if you like, to get sponsorship. So my advice would be to get things in order to make sure that you can present a case that is sellable and also buyable, if that makes sense.
It's, it always bothers me that we use that term and that word competitive when we come to nonprofits, because there are so many people and institutions trying to do the same thing. Why do we need to start another one, even though you think you have a better idea? And I'll be smaller, I'll be less, I don't know, it bothers me that we use the word competitive a lot when we come to nonprofit organizations.
Yeah,
but it's true.
I would agree with that. It is true. It is very true. But the ones that I'm involved with have a specific for where I live in Brisbane, and they have a specific role in which in the area that they are, like the Childhood Cancer Support Society that I'm involved with, help remote people from remote locations to come and stay, and they offer that service for free. So they obviously need funding to do that. They don't get any government funding, so it's a tragedy, but it's real. There is competition in that space.
Sure.
You're working with a nonprofit now, creating a series of videos. Tell me about that project and what are you doing, and let's walk through the production process.
Yeah, sure. There's another local charity, if you like, in Brisbane that offer therapeutic horse riding for disabled people. So what that means is that they get everybody from people that cannot walk in wheelchairs to right through to sort of limited disability in terms of even hearing. So what horse riding does for those people is amazing. Actually, when you see it, it provides them with a confidence, and in the role in which it plays with wheelchair bound people is quite profound in as much as it helps their core. And I've seen kids that have, when they get on a horse, they're literally hunched over, and after a year of riding, they're able to sit up by themselves. So
yeah, I live in a community here in Los Angeles called Chatsworth, and there's a horse riding therapy organization in that community, which is one of the best in the country. And it's only a couple of blocks from where I live, and I've gone over there a number of times and just watched the progress of wheelchair-bound people from one week to the other. It's extraordinary. It's just really extraordinary. The rewards are almost instant when they put somebody who's never been on a horse before, and it's boy, does it make you smile. It really does.
It does. And so what I'm doing with them is, again, they needed help with their sort of their presence, their brand presence, and they've also trying to do a major upgrade on the facilities they have. So I've produced or am in the process of producing a brand video, if you like, for them. I approached the prominent Australian musician, got the rights to a song for them, and I'm just going to do like a little music clip for them to take to corporates and other organisations in the local Brisbane area to get funding for them to do that major upgrade. On the other ones that I do for that, I also interviewed some of their staff to again try and expand on their donation base, just basically to get the public awareness of what they do.
And how are those being distributed?
By
the internet.
Is there any other way?
Through some other sort of newsletter sort of based stuff as well.
So let's just talk tech for a minute. What kind of cameras are you shooting, and how are you getting it edited, and get as specific as you want?
Sure. It's a 2-camera process. There was a studio base where I did the interviews, shot on a Blackmagic camera, actually, the 2K cinema camera, and the second camera is a Canon 5D. So, and the same with on location when I shoot the horses and the kids riding the horses, is a 2-camera shoot with the same cameras.
And then editing?
I actually do the editing. I started in the industry as an editor, so as a film editor. So that's a little passion for me. So I cut them and grade them in Resolve, cut them in Adobe Premiere Pro, and then output as one would normally do through there.
Now, you're shooting with the Canon, among others. Are you transcoding the footage, or are you just editing the H.264 natively?
Natively, editing it natively.
And then you go to Resolve for a color grade?
Correct.
And are you writing the script?
Yes.
See, he does everything.
That's it. Lights, cameras, action, editing. Wow.
Jibs and crane shots and copter shots. And
I wish. Yeah. When you work at not-for-profits, it's hard to get...
well, now you can do it so cheap. You got all these quadcopters. You can put your little GoPro cameras and scare the horses. That's it.
Yeah.
What... As I think about it, unless you're a really well-established nonprofit and you've been in business for 40, 50 years and established the brand and people understand what that is, the biggest challenge is having people understand why they should contribute to you. In other words, why, with the limited charity dollars that they've got, why that particular charity? It seems to me that the biggest challenge you've got is answering that why question. What techniques are you using to help people be reassured that the nonprofit is worth contributing to? And the corollary that falls out of this is, what advice do you have other young nonprofits to answer that why question?
It's a great question. And it's quite difficult to answer. But it comes down to, for me, it comes down to exposure of what the charity. I mean, there's a lot of charities out there and a lot of not-for-profit organizations that are rubbish. That where the dollar doesn't actually get to the what they're trying to do. So firstly, you have to establish what the organization does and make people aware of that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the horse riding thing, because not many people know about the therapeutic sort of things that offer these people with horse riding. But I think firstly is you have to identify exactly what you're doing and exactly what you're offering to whatever sector that you're in. Secondly, when you're asking for money, you have to, in my opinion, offer where exactly that dollar is going to go. So, for example, in the horse riding, it might be you sponsoring a horse, and in doing that, it enables the horse to be fed, et cetera, et cetera. And with the Childhood Cancer Society that I'm involved with, it allows you can sponsor a unit where the families stay, or you can help with buying. For example, we did a drive not long back, a donation drive to each of the rooms needed a medical fridge to store the drugs that the kids needed for their treatment. So I guess that's a long answer to a very complex question. So in short, I think you need to identify the need and focus on where the dollar is going to go.
Then, continuing that same theme, what mistakes do nonprofits make, aside from not having enough money? What mistakes do they make in creating their videos that they need to think about avoiding?
Quality. I think one of the main things that happen with non-for-profits is that they get people that don't know what they're doing, or sell them an idea that isn't the right message. I guess that's what I didn't mention in the last question you asked. It's the messaging. The messaging has to be correct and on the money. And often non-for-profit videos are quite low quality. They look terrible. They're filmed on substandard equipment, and they just look terrible, which then reflects on the organization themselves to make the organization look terrible. So the one advice I would get is to get somebody that can do it to make it look professional.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, going back to that place in Chatsworth, the horse riding therapy place. One nice thing about living in Los Angeles, you're surrounded by a lot of talent, and a lot of talent is doing some very good things for this place, and they're using a lot of very professional equipment with a lot of talented people, and their video to get people to actually give money is so good that you cannot help but give money after you see the video. It's excellent. It's a beautiful story. It's beautifully done, and that's so important. Because if you're going to spend 5 or 6 minutes watching this thing, it means a lot to your donations.
Exactly. And the other thing I would add to that is that if you're approaching CEOs or decision makers in big major corporates, they don't have a lot of time, so you have to pull that heartstring, so to speak, quickly.
Yeah, music's really important.
It is.
It is. It is.
What projects are you working on in the future? What's coming up?
I don't really know, to be honest. I will continue to work with the McIntyre Centre, which is the horse riding centre, and the Childhood Cancer Society that I work with. I'm on the board there, so that keeps me fairly busy as well. So I do these things on the side, so I'll continue to do that, I guess.
Yeah, please do. We need people like you.
So what are you going to be doing to pay the rent?
I've got a day job. I work in there. So I'll continue to do my day job.
Well, we appreciate your staying in late from work today to be able to visit with us. That's very kind of you.
Absolute pleasure.
Oh, I almost forgot. Do we have a website that people can learn more about the McIntyre Center that they can go to?
We do, yeah.
Do you want to share it with us so that we have a place for people to check it out?
Sure. It's rda.com.au.
That's RBA.
D for dog, A.com.au.
rda.com.au, which is...
And can we see some of your work on that site?
No, not that site. That's actually, I told a lie. It's rda.asn.au.
Okay. Can we see some of your work on that site?
Let's talk communication and, getting the message drilled home, shall we?
That was the one thing you forgot to put on the video. Go to this site and get more
I do
information.
know what I'm doing. Yeah.
It was that lower third that you got wrong.
Give us the website one more time.
It's rda.asn.au.
All right.
That's the actual organization's website.
So where can we go to see your work?
I don't have a lot of stuff up.
You gotta put something up.
Yeah.
Make your own website. Next project, make your own website.
Yeah, you should feel guilty because otherwise, millions of people are missing the quality of your work right now.
Exactly.
Anyway,
we need more people like you here in LA.
And Colin, thank you so very much for your time. It's been a wonderful visit. And we wish you great success going forward in the future.
And to you chaps as well.
Take care.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
so much.